Today we're here with Nathan Hecht, founder and CEO of Rodo.
This is Amplify, a retail automotive podcast brought to you by Reuters Events and ASOTU. It's time to make the most innovative voices in retail automotive louder.
Nathan, so good to be here with you today. Thanks for joining us.
Same here. Thanks for having me.
There it is.
I faded that out a little too
Faded
fast.
way too quick.
Sometimes I just,
got a little excited.
Rookie moment.
All right, so Nathan with Rodo, which is one of the, there's fun names of companies in auto, and I think Rodo is one of the most fun.
And the logo's fun.
The
the whole
logo's
vibe,
fun.
the energy
Yeah.
of it is good.
What led you to get started with Rodo? Because I love a little founder story, and where did you see the problem in the world that you wanted to solve?
Had to solve.
Before I get into that, and I just need literally 2 seconds here. If you think Rodo is a cool name, the previous name of this company was Honker.
I'd say it's an improvement.
True fact.
Yeah, we'll
True
go
fact.
with
Because
Rodo.
if you're in Boston, that just sounds even funnier. Honka, right?
Okay, so
It's a good change. It's
good.
a good change.
thank you. So that out of the way, I was in the market for a car in New York, and I walked into a dealership for the first time in my life.
And you're talking about the city.
I'm talking
New York
about
City.
Actually Long Island.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not that cool.
Okay.
And I went into a dealership for the first time in my life based on an ad that I saw for a car. And I was like, I want this car at this price. And the guy was like, well, come inside and have a seat. And about 6 hours
We know where
later,
this is going already.
I was like slumped on the couch. How do I even get out of here?
You're sideways.
And
He's
while-
like, I haven't eaten.
He only had one shoe. They had to take his shoe to the desk.
Right. I was a cartoon. Okay. And I was like, this can't be real. Does everybody in America do this? And while I was sitting there, I was on my phone Googling lease a car online, buy a car online. How do you do this online? How do you, et cetera? And that's how Rodo was born. I said, we have to take this brick and mortar transaction and turn it into something online.
All right, so you've turned it
a great
online.
story.
You've had, 7, 8 years? How long have you been?
Almost 7 years. Yes.
Almost 7 years. That's pretty good. I'm paying attention
you
to
guys
hot
are-
minute in my
He's
market, okay?
got the sharp mind.
So almost 7. Yeah, so you've been in the market now this long, been working through digital transactions. You were present during COVID, probably saw some lift there. What have you seen the consumer interaction change when they get into the ecosystem of the lease, buy, purchase online?
I think once a consumer experiences the transaction online vis-a-vis offline, they're born again. They can't get away from it. The types of reviews and feedback that we get from consumers who have done this both ways is exceptional. It's almost like I'll never forget the first time I used Uber. I was flying back from overseas, landed at JFK 5 o'clock in the morning. Typically, you come out, you're waiting online for a yellow taxi. He doesn't really want to go to your neighborhood. The car's falling apart. And instead, my wife was sitting next to me, and she was like, you want to download this app and like a black car appears or something like that? And I
This
was
is like old school OG when they had all the drivers and it was
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was, and the first time I experienced it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I will never step out of an airport the same way again. That's the kind of reaction we get from consumers who buy or lease online now.
Wow. I'm just there's an element of when, even if it can't be fast, it can be easy. And who said that to us? Somebody said that to us today. And the fact that even if you were in the dealership and even if buying a car still took you a number of hours, if it could still be easy. And it's almost like when you just talk about that Uber example and you're talking about the reaction to your product, it's probably more reaction to the fact that it's easy and less about it being fast.
Absolutely. I think convenience and easy are the two things that
Because easy is a
out.
feeling, right? It's not benchmarked on time. If I leave and maybe it took me long, but if I felt like it was easy, it's only that feeling of ease that mattered.
Totally.
Now, one of the conversations that we're having here at this event is like mapping the gaps between kind of the four parties involved, which is like the industry partner, the OEM, the dealer, and the customer. How are you looking to solve the problems of the gaps between each of those? Because like there could be dealers that are like, oh, buying online is dumb, right? Maybe there's customers that are like, I still want to go in the showroom. There's OEMs that are like, well, we need our brand to be safe and make sure that everything works. And then you got other industry partners that are like, no, but my tech over here. How are you working to solve the gaps or some of the gaps in there?
First of all, it is very, very hard. As you just mentioned, and you have all types of personalities when you deal with the corporate types coming out of the OEMs. You deal with the sort of rough and tumble guys at the dealerships, and then consumers, who have certain expectations as well. So it's hard to connect the dots. I think the first thing is technology, right? When technology is seamless, when technology is intuitive, when technology is fast, to your earlier point, and easy, it sort of does a lot of the heavy lifting on your own. If it's make-believe, a lot of the digital retailing or other types of website, enhancements of the last few years is really just patches for what's been around for a very long time. It's the dealer.com website, not knocking them, just slightly better, maybe shows a price, maybe, brings a few rebates and incentives to the surface, but it's not amazing. So we're trying to be amazing. And most of that is done with technology. And then
what are the elements of amazing? What like, you know what I mean? Layman's terms, like what parts make up an amazing transaction?
I'll speak specifically to Rodo. If you can lease a car on 3 or 4 swipes on your phone, that's amazing. That's unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
I literally search Honda Accord, see the cars that are available near me, price and payments right in front of me, click place order, upload my credit information, my driver's license, and I'm 90% done. The other 10% is the dealer completing the transaction, delivering the car to your door. There is no come into the store. There's usually no phone call. There is no upsell. There's just none of that. It's just an extremely slick, fast, easy transaction that's guided by technology.
Are like with what you do, because obviously Rodo as a platform, as a place where consumers go to actually engage, are you mapping that to like something that dealers or consumers can use with a direct interaction with dealers at this point, or is everything kind of like in that third-party marketplace environment?
So it's in tech, it's commonly referred to as a managed marketplace, right? So there are marketplaces that are non-managed, there are managed marketplaces, meaning that there needs to be some hand-holding along the way. So in our instance, we are actually watching the transaction sort of out of an operations room, every transaction that's happening as it's happening, making sure that dealers are moving the transaction along. And they abide by very specific criteria. Like if you're not a dealer that's geared up for doing an e-commerce transaction, don't operate on Rodo.
Wow, yeah.
Period.
I love that. You're like, no, we're not for everyone.
Exactly.
Right? You got to have people, processes. You got to understand technology, discipline, consumer interaction.
Exactly.
You have to have it buttoned.
Yeah, I mean, think about your food delivery companies, right? If you're constantly trying to get food from this Chinese restaurant that just doesn't deliver on time and it's always coming cold, like just get off the platform.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
For sure. When do they kick them off the platform?
They kick them off the platform.
Yeah.
Like, bro, this is not for you, right? You're
right.
Awesome restaurant, but you need to do things your way. Our consumers have certain expectations, and we have dealers that are die hard on Rodo. They've been doing this for years. They're 10, 15, in some instances, 20% of their monthly volume.
Whoa.
Yeah, is going through the platform without mentioning specific groups. They have dedicated staff, dedicated process, ownership, owner principles, management love it, and they live by it.
Is there a market type that leans best toward the product?
No, there's a dealer type.
Ah.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was like, is this like more of an urban thing? Is it more of a suburban thing?
No, urban consumers love it. Who wants to sit in traffic on the weekends and then spend your weekends at the dealership?
Yeah, right.
Rural consumers love it because who wants to drive 80 miles to go to the Ford store and then 20 miles to go to the Toyota store and so on. Everything in one place, price, payment, transaction. You do it from your living room, have the car delivered. It's pretty compelling for both.
Yeah, I love it. I'm telling you what, that type of technology it's a big gap in like you said like web enhancement tools, like the new digital retailing, and so it's clear to me that you didn't come from an automotive background. No. Yeah, so what's your background a little bit?
Tech.
Yeah.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Just variety of different types.
All different types of tech.
6 hours in a dealership changed the trajectory of your life forever.
There's kind of this question happening a lot in auto right now. It's like, hey, do we need people that know the car business to build the tech.
Yeah.
And like, you need to learn the car business at minimum, or understand the transaction nature and understand all the dependencies. But like, as you go, but you've been able to do that with partnering and as you go and learning the tech. But I think that there's always kind of been from the dealer side, like, no, has to be people within auto that get it. And the reality is like, no, all these other business verticals, it's just tech. Tech is tech, right? Whether it's e-com or realty or automotive. And what you're proving right now is like, hey, we can come from any side and support the industry with technology. And whether it be like you were in a dealership or whether or you haven't been, that consumers can be served well. The end user can be served well by technology.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if you went to the likes of Tesla, which is completely online to purchase, et cetera, I would challenge you that if you asked any of the folks that work there, did you come out of auto, right? You work for AutoNation? Who? No.
Yeah.
And they're doing a supreme job in giving consumers an amazing experience.
Yeah. Hey, that's what we need to do. Give consumers an amazing experience. Hey, well, Nathan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Really cool insights. Congrats on the platform and founding something great.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Amplify podcast, brought to you by Reuters Events and ASOTU. For more engaging episodes like this, subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. You can learn more about our hosts, Paul J. Daly and Cal Mountsier, by visiting ASOTU.com.